On the final stage of the Tour de France, they end on the Champs-Élysées. They do a couple of loops, and it's a really prestigious stage to win. But the Tour de France is really won on the day before that Sunday, because for the most part, it's a ceremonial ride into Paris, and sort of an unwritten rule that the overall standings don't really change. And you'll see images possibly leading up to Paris where you'll see them riding with champagne, and it's just a celebrational ride until the very end. And today's going to be that. We're going to theoretically drink champagne, talk about some of the glory days, and bring us to our final destination. If you notice the thumbnails on this tour, all 11 stages, including this one, minus one stage, and on the one today is a picture of me winning a race. And it meant a lot because, like I said before, I didn't win a lot of races, but that day in particular, I was on fire. All the big dogs were there within a 3 to 4 state area, a who's who of the cycling scene in the South. And it was 4 laps. I believe it was like a 15 to 20 mile course. So the race was about 65 miles or something like that. And each lap toward the finish line was a very steep 1 kilometer climb to the finish line. And crazy enough, my strength was climbing because I'm from the flattest part of the world, for the most part, New Orleans, and Memphis is not much more than New Orleans is. But I don't know, there was something about my power weight ratio that I can just turn a big gear going up steep climbs. I once did a race called the Joe Martin Stage Race, and this is a big race in Fayetteville, Arkansas. Now, when I did it, it wasn't like it is today, because today it's a very big pro race. And one stage I think they still do to this day is a time trial stage. It's about 2 to 2.5 miles straight up this mountain. And I really want to say I was probably the only one in this race that went up in my big chain ring. And I was catching guys. I knew I was having a good run. I was turning it over, had a good cadence. But I really, I'm not used to seeing myself at the top of a leaderboard after a time trial. It's not always been my strength, unless it's uphill, but still. I remember the results were posted, and I was second place on the stage. After being in a breakaway during the road race that same day, I believe I got 4th or 5th in a road race. So I was on form, but yeah, that was surprising to see me at the top of a list of a race. And my teammate won that time trial. He was better than me at climbing and still is. I did what I normally do, which is race dumb. Later on, I figured out how to race smart. I went on a solo breakaway, which, when you talk about chances, which I talked about in the last stage, it's not a statistical way to win a race. It's very hard to go off, break away from the pack by yourself, not being able to trade pace with anyone. You're in the wind, and you're trying to go faster by yourself than a pack of guys who want to win just as bad as you do. So on that hill with 2 laps to go, I just found myself feeling pretty good. I had a little gap going up that stretch, and I was like, let's go. So I go. I'm turning over that gear, feeling good on the backside of the course. Coming up with 1 lap to go. I look back, kind of keeping an eye on things, and I'm holding a gap, but I see there is a breakaway coming up behind me. of, looked like about 7, 8 guys. Well, they caught me 1 lap to go. I look around, I see the guys in it, and it's everyone you'd expect. The best from all states around. I had some teammates there, which was good to see. And I'm like, all right, I have a lap to recuperate from my effort of being away solo for a lap. We got, 15, 20 miles to go. So now I'm in a break of 8 or 9 guys. And we all kind of stay together. There's always a little fireworks, but it seemed like everyone was just waiting to the final showdown on the kilometer climb to the finish line. We come up to that climb, fireworks start, and I remember, it's funny how you remember details and things that happened. This would be 25 years ago, probably. I remember that climb, and I remember just kind of looking around, and there were 5, and then there were 4, and then there were 3, and I look around, and there's no one really behind me that has a chance between me and the finish line. And I look up, and there's a guy who is a really good time trialist, and I could see the finish line coming up, and now it's just math. How fast do I have to be to get to that finish line before he does? And it played out just like it needed to, and I had enough speed and enough power to ride up to his wheel, and with about 100 meters to go, I just sprinted around him. Threw my hands in the air. Thank God someone had a picture. And it's a day I look back on with great pride. So when you don't win a lot, you remember the ones you do. And I won this stage in the Champs-Élysées. Or in my case, I-55 between St. Louis and Memphis. I have a complete response on my report, with 0 cancer detected in my lungs, in my spine. Sometimes I'm ignorant, and sometimes being ignorant can get you pretty far. Sometimes taking a solo breakaway might work out. Sometimes a Hail Mary pass does result in a touchdown. So thanks for listening to my tour to cancer. Subscribe to my channel and like, share, comment, all that stuff. And if you could, check the description in the videos. There's some Cash App links. And I could definitely use it for medical bills and traveling expenses as I continually go to St. Louis and get checked up on. And one last time, let's go!